In days, 957 days since Richard went missing, right there from Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. And he didn't just go missing, something happened. And we, of course, I want to talk about January 6th today and the breakthrough that we received yesterday. Um, of course, we were not notified when Richard went missing. And so we were really behind trying to find out what happened there. Why would he go missing? Where would he go? Um, and, I was on news and um, we went and rallied because of everything that was happening with Vanessa Guillen. I am Vanessa. We decided to buy a megaphone and some um, signs, banners, and go to El Paso, rent an Airbnb there, and everybody stayed there, and we rallied, and we looked for him, and we tried to talk to people, and um, yeah, uh, we didn't realize that the military really knew everything at that time and that they were keeping information from us, and they have been keeping a lot of information from us. And we even went to my dad's 80th birthday there in Virginia, and it was very close to Washington, D.C., and his Republican group had a bus going to the nation's capital on January 6th, and we made arrangements to go with them on this bus, and we got busy buying um, the little candles with the cards with all the information on Richard on it to make, and prayers, so prayer cards, and also flyers. And we had backpacks full of the flyers and the prayer candles, and um, our mission was to go to the nation's capital and talk to as many people as we could, and maybe there would be some media there that we could get in front of to shine a light on our son, and maybe somebody would come out, and also to talk about the reward money. Right now, at that time, it wasn't as much as it is now, but it's $150,000 for credible information leading to finding Richard. And we just found out through this disaster in Mexico, the kidnapping of these four Americans, that the FBI offers reward money, and I don't understand why they haven't offered reward money for Richard when they were looking for Richard in Juarez. And our good question here, because we were told by a very credible source, and everyone knows who he is, that the FBI found Richard's remains in Juarez, Mexico. Shh, shh. And we have all of that in our records. And yeah, so we've done everything, tried to do everything that we could to shine a light on Richard's case. At this point, 957 days. Of course, yesterday we had a breakthrough, but I just want to show you a video that's really important of January 6th. And this is coming back onto the bus, and we had passed out all of our flyers and prayer candles, and it was a cold day, and I'll let you just listen. This is very important to our case. Very important.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so today started out as a really positive day, and we seemed very successful in what we were doing. And it seemed very peaceful. Sorry. It was a cold day, and you just worked really hard to get the prayer cards out. I was really successful in doing that. Everything was beautiful. All the people were really beautiful, very peaceful, very clean. I didn't see hardly any trash when I left. But we did march over to the Capitol. When we got to the Capitol area, it was very exciting. Everybody was marching over there, and to see that huge amount of people marching, I was talking to everybody, and asking where they're coming from and telling them about Richard. I did land an interview, got a phone number, so that's really great news. We were being told to come very close to the Capitol to move forward, and to make room for others. So of course we did that. We moved pretty close, and as we got to be quite a few people up close, the police started to fire tear gas at us. They started to fire tear gas. I also heard that they were firing some rubber bullets. There was also some people in SWAT gear starting some trouble with the police. We did get caught in some tear gas. I did. Hannah, James, and Sam, and Rob. We got a little bit more than Rob. Fortunately, my son-in-law, James, knew what to do and told us what to do, and so we got out of that pretty good, and people were really awesome, because it could have started where everyone's tramping over the other, a stampede, effect. But no, it did not happen, even though there were older people, there were people in wheelchairs, there were even strollers there with children. I mean, this was really a very peaceful group, and they got tear gassed, and it was pretty shocking. And so your first thought is to get away from the tear gas, and so it could, and because they had moved us so close, come closer, fill in the gaps, because they did that, it could have started a stampede. But the people didn't. They were really good. They were calling out directions, and we're all moving kind of together. And of course, James was giving us directions on how not to be so affected by the tear gas. And so we got there were thousands of people that handled that situation, hundreds in that area that got tear gassed. Now, there was these people in full, like I said, SWAT gear that were instigating a fight with the police. The Trump people were saying, don't fire tear gas at us. We're on your side. We support the blue, and we're your friends. It was a very different atmosphere than what I've been seeing on TV for the whole year, with all of these riots and the police letting all the people riot so that they wouldn't hurt the people that were rioting. This was kind of like the opposite. I don't know what kind of orders they were given, if they were tired of people rioting. or if it was just Trump people. But this was really family. Yeah, like I said, there was some children, there were people in wheelchairs, there were a lot of older people, disabled people, a lot of veterans. So, you know, this was definitely a peaceful. I don't really want to call it a protest, but I guess that's what you would call it. I think it was, to me, it was more in support of President Trump, more in support of Vice President Pence to do the right thing. There was a lot of, well, there was total disappointment in the crowd when they heard that Vice President Pence stabbed President Trump in the back, and continued to do so as things kind of escalated, because it seemed that there's still videos coming out. I'm still watching these videos. People, Trump supporters, did get into the Capitol building. I don't know that whole situation, except for the lady that got shot. She was unarmed.
They were all unarmed.
One person on our bus
Everybody was unarmed.
was
I didn't
there.
see anybody that was armed.
And said she was unarmed. She just had the Trump flag draped around her like a superwoman, and they just out and out shot her in the neck. Now that's what I heard. I did not see that, but that's what I heard. I think videos are going to come out showing that, okay? Because I heard a lot of people got videos. But what I witnessed firsthand is that we were all very jolly, really supporting President Trump and Vice President Pence to make this decision to send the Electoral College votes back to the states, because, and I don't understand why Biden doesn't do that, because if I was Biden, I would want everything recounted to have a legitimate presidency. And so I don't understand why he doesn't do that. It's really strange to me, because of all the division, that he would go ahead and have it audited, and to declare him the rightful winner, and get all of these accusations, legitimate accusations with videos, clarified. I don't understand why he doesn't want to do that. And so I felt like the Trump supporters there, like I said, we were very jolly. We're just there to support President Trump, see this historical decision by Pence. For us, we were there to try to find media people and talk to them and give them information about Richard. So for that part, it was very successful. Then again, I have to say it again. I'm going to repeat myself. As we got close to the Capitol, because we were all by the White House, we walked all the way down the mall and towards the Capitol, and then we were told to get closer, to come closer. And once we got a certain number of people closer, they started firing the tear gas at us. I thought it was like little cannons or whatever, because it was so peaceful and jolly, celebratory, that I told Rob, that's not tear gas, that's like cannons or something, like something for fun. But I was wrong. The police were aiming and shooting tear gas at a very happy crowd. It was really shocking. I don't know if they were instigated. I know that That's what I experienced because I was tear gassed and I wasn't doing anything. I was very happy, joyful, jovial. I didn't break anything. I didn't litter. I didn't, so, and they tear gassed me. I just can't believe what's happening, y'all. I know that there were like these SWAT people that were instigating some things with the police. So I don't, the police need to tell their story. They do. And we'll find out, I think, in the next few hours or the next day. But I am just shocked at, that doesn't help, at the police shooting tear gas at us. Then someone on our bus was with the lady that was shot. There's a video out. People have videos. She just had a Trump flag around her neck like Wonder Woman or Superwoman. And they just killed her. They just killed her. They just shot her in the neck and killed her. I don't know if they were afraid. I don't know. But it is curious that now I read that Pence I don't know. It's a real shame. It's a real shame because this foreign ideology, it was very, I'll tell you this, the Chinese were out in droves. These were the American Chinese getting signatures to end the CCP. They helped us find a restroom. We were talking to them. We were marching with them. They were out in droves, busloads. They are adamant of keeping America sovereign and not under the control of the CCP. We need some truth. What does this have to do with Richard? Well, we were there to get media coverage for Richard. We did get an interview set up. We did get footage. We did meet some people from El Paso that had heard the whole story of Richard and said, oh, I heard that he was gun running over in Mexico and got caught. I'm like, oh my gosh, that is what they've heard. See, that was the narrative that the Army kind of started, instigated at the beginning with Richard and the border. I'm so sick of that story being twisted and everything. I'm just so mad at the Army for doing that because they know the truth. They know what happened to Richard. And so it was really good. They know what happened to Richard. They know that their leadership totally let Richard down. That they have failed leadership. They have leadership that panics, that is self-seeking. Absolutely 100% after I talk to them again. Because they can't even get the bolo right. We're working on that, finally. This is day 167. They can't get the bolo right. They don't really care about Richard. If Richard had a different last name, like let's say McConville or Garrett or Mark, something like that, then they would probably care.
Lieutenant General Donna Marley,
they say they care.
Contacted us the day before to tell us not to go.
They were searching for him in the desert.
They knew something was going to go up on January.
But this is so much bigger than Richard, y'all. This is about our Army and the oath that each officer takes, not each officer, each soldier takes when they go into the Army. And that is to protect, defend the Constitution of the United States from foreign and domestic enemies. This is their oath. They are so far from that. They are so far from that. And they let Richard down. They did not do their duty when it comes to Richard. And I hope that there's a lot of repenting and that they do take their oath seriously, because they have to face God one day. They need to learn the fear of God, because that's the only thing they need to fear, and that's the fear of God. And to watch, I watched a lot of protesting this year. This was not protesting. This was, they call it a protest, but this was really just a supportive celebration, and to show support for President Trump and for Vice President Pence to make this decision that Vice President Pence had to make today. And he let everyone down. And me, I'm for the most part, I am a Trump supporter, just because I see how untruthful and everything the other side has been this year. These 4 years. It's so obvious. It's so obvious. I was always pretty neutral. I was like a Perot person. I was a Ron Paul person, because I want a good economy. I'm a math person, so so I always went to the economists. Perot with all his charts, Ron Paul with his Mises School of Economics. That's where I tended to go. I'm tended to go towards Trump because of his financial record. When I looked at his financials when he started running, I was totally amazed. They are so awesome. And I thought, wow, he could really help our country pay off its debt, because we're so in debt, and have some good small businesses and get our country making things again. That was my thinking. I don't get into all the personal things, because there's not too many politicians I really like personally. So I don't get into the personal stuff. I want to see some economic soundness in our leaders, and that's what I look at. So it's this was a really great group of people, lots of family people, and I'm really sad because now we have a lady dead, and I would say she was like almost executed. Anyway, pray. Our Heavenly Father, please guide this country. Please have mercy on us. Christ, have mercy on us. Lord, have mercy on us. For we have become so evil and so lax, so destructive, that we're almost suicidal. We don't care for our young. We don't care for our old. We don't do our duties anymore. We don't take our oaths seriously anymore. It's no wonder that our judgment has come. But please have mercy and give us your Holy Spirit and give us your will. Give us wisdom that we can turn and repent and look towards you to lead this country out of the darkest night that it's in, with the weeping and the gnashing of teeth, that we don't fall further into the night and do not have more weeping and more gnashing of teeth. I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Okay, y'all. Thanks for your support. Please share. And thanks again. And please pray. Bye-bye.
Okay, so that was me on January 6th, right after it was so nice in that bus because it was so warm. Um, and Tucker's first little piece tonight reminded me of that day, of course, yesterday, and what I'm seeing up there on the Capitol Hill with Schumer and McConnell is so disgusting. You know, they're when you, it's so disgusting. I understand that they don't want their desk to be stood on. Okay, um, the when you look at the videos, and I think the more videos will come out, things were busted and lit on fire, and you know, they didn't have weapons. They weren't there to hurt anybody. Um, and those that were close to the Capitol, that went into the Capitol, I guess you would call them protesters, true protesters. But I was so used to seeing the protests, quote unquote, of the last couple years where they're, you know, raiding the stores and putting things on fire, putting the vehicles on fire, breaking windows, destroying inner cities. Well, really, they were opportunity zones. I don't know if you know that, and I've said it several times, but President Trump had created opportunity zones in these inner cities. And these same opportunity zones are the ones that were lit on fire and broken windows and destroyed. They, it's like we can destroy, because Antifa did it. We know Antifa is, um, we know there's a lot of political support behind all of this. Where is this political support coming from? Where are the funds coming from to pay these people to do this stuff, right? And where are the psyops coming from? The psychological operations to make these people do these things, the twisting and the turning and all of that. And you know, because you have to ask those questions. Why are they targeting opportunity zones, right? And so that's not what happened to McConnell. That's not what happened to Cruz. That's not what happened. And the thing is Pelosi was in charge of the protection of the Capitol. And this is the main point that I want to make, is Pelosi was in charge. They all knew. The Capitol Police were in charge, okay? Of the safety of the Capitol and those within. And they all knew, because Lieutenant General Donna Martin contacted us the night before to warn us not to go. And they knew, even the military knew, the generals knew, the 44 four-star generals knew that something of no good was going to happen on January 6th. That and the same, you know, the smoking gun of Ray Epps, he's the smoking gun, where they defended him. And I'm going to tell you this right now, and this is not crazy for me, or from me, because I have witnessed FBI informants, political pundits come onto the Find Richard Halliday and try to lead and twist and turn and manipulate the whole investigation and sabotage the search for our son. Absolutely. So it's not crazy for me, after having this experience, 957 days, to say that the whole machine is a manipulation. That's why they had put us, $32 trillion in debt now. That's not what it was back then. They have to be able to bribe people, money launder, whatever, to certain businesses and agencies and people to make this happen, because they have to make them employees. See, they have to, you have to follow the money. And these are so many employees that depend, if you're in the media, you better not say the right thing or investigate a story that is not approved. And, have we had some of these very caring reporters come back and ask about this case? No, it's not approved. But they all knew, absolutely, they all knew that something was going to happen. And it wasn't from the people. I can tell you that much, because I was one of the people. And if they wanted something to happen, they would have brought weapons. And those that had hammers, that hammered their way into the Capitol building, that did do some damage, they weren't even charged. We don't even know who they are. Why? Why aren't they charged? So a man that just walks around the Capitol inside with the police, he gets 4 years in prison, when those that actually had a hammer, and who was in charge of tear gassing us? Why would you tear gas people in wheelchairs with children in strollers that are saying the Lord's Prayer? Why would you do that? So McConnell and what's that other demon's name? He is a demon. Schumer, to get up and say, how much did he have to pay for that Capitol Police guy? That's just my question. That's did they audit him? Did they investigate the captain or whatever? Because he's floating that paper around in front. Look at here. This is what happened. This is his assessment, and it's so bad. It was such a setup job. And Lieutenant General Donna Martin knew the day before, because she warned us. She contacted us. And I really am grateful for that she had a little bit of humanity in her, because she's been twisted so badly for her position. And she works for them, and she gets everything from us. She gets it all. She gets all the support. She gets all the money. She gets everything. She gets everything. As a 3-star general, she gets everything. So for her to have a little bit of humanity, to actually think about doing her duty just a little bit in just one family, is a little bit of hope, because they've twisted her like they twisted David Stewart. So they're breeding and with their psyops, with their economic skills, making everyone employees. They can twist and turn you, and do their psyops on you. And make you accept things. Which brings me, let's listen to Tucker.
Video from surveillance cameras on Capitol Hill. That video was recorded 26 months to the day before, January 6, 2021. And for 26 months, that footage was held from the American public.
Yes.
The January 6th committee made certain. Now, the Justice Department also kept a lid on that video footage. And in fact, in some cases, DOJ did not share it with criminal defendants who'd been charged on January 6th in violation of their constitutional rights. So we felt it was a public service to bring what we could to you. There was no justification for keeping this secret any longer, and a powerful argument to be made that sunlight is always and everywhere the best disinfectant. Amen. And in fact, because it was video evidence, it is to some extent self-explanatory. Anyone can look at the tape and decide what he or she thinks of it. So the tape we showed last night indicated very clearly that Capitol Hill police, in some cases, escorted protesters through the Capitol as if they were giving a tour. They did that with Jacob Chansley, the so-called QAnon shaman. At one point, they even tried to open...
I'm going to put this forward a little bit.
Tonight with another segment. Fox News should tell him not to. Fox News,
just talked about
Rupert Murdoch.
You can watch that.
Mitt Romney.
Oh.
They're all on the same side.
Yes.
Been telling for the last 26 months, and not just Chuck Schumer.
Thank you, God,
We should also
for that.
tell you that Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, was joined in this outrage by the Senate Minority Leader. And that would be a Republican, Mitch McConnell. And they were joined by a cascade of other Republicans. Tom Tillis from North Carolina, Mitt Romney from Utah. All
Yeah, so I want to pause there just for a minute. Because I will talk about the breakthrough that we had at this point. Matter of fact, I can even... They're not doing their job, at least to say that. Mitt Romney, with some other families in the LDS, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, the Mormons, have huge invested interest in that El Paso, New Mexico, all the way through Chihuahua to Colonial Juarez. Very important to know that. They have huge stakes. They have huge businesses. They have their horse training, breeding, racing business. They have the, like the Farnsworth, the Romneys, and others, all through that area. This Richard's case is about human trafficking. It's about human trafficking and child trafficking and child pornography production, sales, and distribution and broadcasting. What Richard was not okay with, any of it. He was not okay with any of it, and he tried to maneuver through that. I thought he didn't even go to his chain of command, but I believe now that he did. We have a little bit of witness that he did go, and they just dismissed him, which would be the standard operating procedure after listening to Asia Graham's story, Asia Graham being also under Major General Clem Coward, and about her rape. She was dismissed. And also about Austin Hawke. He was being threatened. And for many, many days, maybe weeks, before he was brutally murdered in his barracks room, I would say slaughtered. And they did not protect him. He was also a whistleblower, and they did not protect him. The people there that went to January 6th let everyone know that they were coming and why they were coming. And there was no preparation. I can tell you that much. No protection, no preparation. And that tells you the quality of the people that were there, because for all those, you have to think, there were hundreds of thousands of people. If they really wanted to do an insurrection, they would have brought a lot more weapons, and that Capitol building would have been smashed to smithereens. And, so the narrative does not fit reality. And I'm sorry that McConnell and Schumer are so, They feel like they're so privileged that they can destroy regularly out of that building. The Congress can destroy regularly through economics, through education, through their COVID lockdowns, their crimes against humanity. Really, that was put through by the DOD. But they could stop it, but they can destroy lives daily. No infrastructure, no good water. And all of a sudden, some people come through with some flags and hats and stand on their desk and they go crazy. And, I'm afraid for my life. Well, we have an entire military that is being held hostage right now, and they are at risk to losing their lives and their health. And they have been targets for absolutely crimes against humanity, along with everything else through the DOD. These 44 four-star generals and admirals are total criminals, crimes against humanity. And they don't care about that. And then these videos come out and show another point of view. I'm not saying that, it was perfect. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of people. It was pretty near perfect. And when something did go wrong, it was unjust. I would say an execution. And, the lies. My mom, my dad, R.I.P., rest in peace, Dad, he signed up to get the echoes. And today's cover with the echoes my mom received in the mail was General McConville. And it was just, she said, Pat, it was just, I have to give it to you tomorrow. So I'll probably show it to you. But it's just lies. And warmongering. They just want war. That's their job. War, to get the contracts, to make the money, and they don't care about maiming our volunteer sons and daughters. They don't care what it does to the economics of our country. They don't. And that's the caliber of what's going on, of our leadership. And it gets worse because the breakthrough we had is that there is child sex pornography going on as a business on Fort Bliss. Child sex trafficking and child pornography. And it puts us at risk. Are they going to give us somebody to guard us? Are they going to protect our safety for calling it out? For being the whistleblowers? Because we're talking about not being okay with someone coming in and paying $500-$800 to rape a child. We're not okay with that. Richard was not okay with that. And then to film it, and then to create some other whatever they do, and then to sell that and broadcast this. And nobody wants to touch it because it's so big. It's so big. And that's why we haven't gotten the traction that we should get in this case. Not because of oh, my son is so special. I'm saying because of the border, because of child sex trafficking, because of child pornography, because of the implications of that anyone that got airdropped child pornography, any pornography, they can be blackmailed, they can be lockstepped, they can be made to do things that they don't want to do. They are also groomed by it. They are made to think it's normal, that it's normal for children to be sex objects. It's normal for I mean, come on. How much do I have to explain this to everybody? They want to normalize this, and they're not going to. Y'all, this is not the bottom of the barrel. Okay? As bad as it is, and it's horrifying bad, this is not the bottom of the barrel. We're spiraling down. And knowing that this is so egregious, and that our leadership, McConnell and what's that other guy's name? Schumer. I always forget his name because he's just such a demon to me. And McConnell too. They're very clever political demons. To twist people into thinking that these were that the shaman needed 4 years in prison. I mean, I'm really happy that we went, because the hypnotism that they do through the media, woo, and they make you think that viruses exist, which we always did, but now we don't. That the moon is solid, we always did, but now we don't. It's not solid. It's not solid, y'all. And that they are the source of our problems. They are the source of our problems. Our government leadership, it has gone all wrong, because they're allowed to hire people. They have access to big money, and they can hire people. And being hired, then you have debt, and you need your job to pay off your debt, and you get into this very bad situation. It's so much so that you're willing to smear a missing soldier, that you're willing to look the other way when children are being raped, children are being sexually filmed, that you can, that you get these on your phones. Richard was not okay with that. He showed great courage in the midst of cowards. Groomed cowards. They're groomed, you see. They're trained. They're hypnotized. And I'm not passing judgment, because I did not live there. I did not grow up there. I was not subjected to the grooming. I was not subjected to the psychological operations. I was not subjected to the hypnosis. Okay? We lived away, and so did Richard. He was not groomed. And so he was not okay with it. It was not normal to him. It was not normalized to him. It wasn't a source of income to him. It wasn't even an option of a source of income to him. And that's why he tried to use our government, the Child Protective Services, to make his complaint, to hand in the videos, the porn videos. And that is why, I'm like, okay, and why because the IG were all over the barracks because of Halliday, why did Major General Clem Coward smoke him? What are they involved in? How much grooming has gone on? At what level has the grooming gone on? Is it possible that the hypnosis and the psychological operations have reached the top tier? And does it come from the top tier? Does it come from the top tier? And, that's not a crazy question, because we had a colonel that is a major player in a sex cult. A colonel, the next rank is a general. And he was in this sex cult and admitted to rearing these puppies being these new recruits, these new people coming into this sex cult. And he took a picture on our installation in our gymnasium, in our uniform, with our rank, with our that all of that is ours, you see. And he desecrated it by taking a picture with his erection out, wearing his mask, which is not part of the uniform. And why isn't this all over the news? This should be all over the news. Is it coming from the top tier? Is it a requirement for the top tier to be involved with this kind of evil? Evil. So, my prayer then that I just showed on January 6th is my prayer now. And this new development of getting a CID file and a FBI file, that I knew about already because I was told by the person that was the target of those allegations. Yeah, it's so bad. And all we wanted to know is where our son is. And here it's just one big convoluted crime syndicate of child sex trafficking and child pornography production. And please God, please, because we let not the service members be part of this with their children. That I just pray, because oh my gosh, yeah. Please let that not be true. Let this all be answered. And then maybe someone with courage, someone that will see that, this hypnosis has to be broken. This psychological ops that have groomed people have to be broken. And, only God's grace could do that. Only God's grace. So maybe we'll get more information. And, like we're trying to write this book, and we get more and more information. And it's all coming together. But I will tell you this, the 44 four-star generals are serving foreign and domestic enemies instead of defending our Constitution, the land, and the people. They have betrayed us. They have committed treason. Silence is consent. They have committed crimes against humanity, and that's just the tip of the iceberg. They are liars. They are the worst type of criminals because they have the entire military behind them, captive in their psyops, in their hypnosis, in their continuous severe retaliation of the tools that we have given them, but they've turned them into weapons. They've weaponized the system. And they weaponized it against Richard. Major General Clem Carrot has a lot of explaining to do. And I can name off a lot of people. But really, when it comes to the bottom of this, it's the when you look at what's going on, it's the 44 four-star generals and admirals that have lockstepped to serving foreign and domestic enemies instead of doing their duty. And how many children have to be raped? How many children have to be sexually filmed and forever scarred before people start getting courage? Because courage is the foundation of all other virtues. And we need some virtue. We need some virtue. All right, everybody. God bless you. Oh, I should take some questions. This January 6th stuff is crazy, isn't it? And I've been talking about it for a long time. Okay, turn this all the way down. 28 comments. Okay, wow. Louis Brennan. I was there and it was historic. Glad I see what happened and could tell everyone the truth. Browser was in on it too. They had more police at the funerals than they had outside the Capitol that day. Absolutely. I also went in December for the Jericho Walk. Didn't stay for the Proud Boys taking over the streets and Tifa hunting, but I watched it live on my way out of there. Didn't see any police that night either. The military has been integral in their ritualized raping and consumption of children. Well, I don't know all the facts, but I do know this. They did everything in their power to sabotage the search for my son, Richard. And it has to do with child sex trafficking and child porn production, sales, and broadcasting, distribution. And if the 44 four-star generals are allowing that to go on, that needs, like I said, they need investigating, they need auditing, and at this point, and I'm not a violent person. I try to find grace everywhere. Sammy could tell you that. Sammy could tell you, but I'm not going to be walked on. And I'm not going to let my country be destroyed for the sake of child sex predators. And there's a line, right? There's a line. And I think that the death penalty absolutely needs to be discussed, seriously needs to be put on the table, and we need to investigate and audit and see what's going on. And maybe that way it would inspire some courage with other people, because they're scared. Y'all, I saw so many shaking people. They're so scared. Why are they so scared if a soldier is just missing? They wouldn't be that scared. But if they know that child sex trafficking and child pornography is going on, that people are paying huge amounts of money to go and rape a child, that would make you shake. That would make you shake. And yeah, it's not okay. It's not okay. And Richard was not okay with it. And he was that courageous person. And I'm going to tell you, the last video that we have that I've not posted, they had broken him. He was crying. If you knew Richard, he was like, I'm sorry. And so this was something so major to break Richard. You have to understand, Richard just did not break. But this would break him. And he was afraid for his life. And that's why he went and bought a pistol 5 days before. It's all becoming very clear. And it's not just one person messing with a kid, because that would absolutely be indictable, and they would, put that out there in the press. This is a ring. This is a ring. This involves many people. Many people. And that's why this is dangerous, because for once, a soldier was not okay with it. And we have found out. So that was a big breakthrough yesterday. And yeah. Praying everybody they give closure. We will all just want Richard found. Thank you. There is no grace left with the crimes committed by these evil people. Well, have you ever watched Heat of the Night? He has a good definition of grace. That's an old show. The police cap. Anyway, watch it. I think it's in the third season or something like that. Maybe the fourth season. But anyway, yeah. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. Thank you for your prayers and thank you for your comments. And we're going to move forward. And I think we haven't gotten any letters back, any message back today from everything that we sent out. So as soon as I know if anyone is going to make a move, but how far up does this go? You know, because even our representative, William Timmons, threw us under the bus, flicked us like a fly. So what's going on? All right, everyone. Thank you. And